Hello everyone, and a very pleasant good afternoon or evening to you wherever you may be listening to this episode right here on an extra edition of Life's Opening Radio, Rope Break. I am your assistant co-host for Rope Break. I'm Ben Charles, and thank you guys for listening here on wherever platform you may be on. We're going to review AEW's Worlds End pay-per-view from 2023. We're obviously in 2024, so it's only fair that not only that I review this show, but also to give you guys basically a rundown of what happened at AEW's World's End. That was AEW's last pay-per-view. I expected this show to be a whole lot better, to be honest with you, but at the same time, I was a little bit disappointed in this show. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this. This was not better than AEW Full Gear. This was not better than AEW All Out. This was not better than AEW Wrestle Dream for damn sure, if anything. So this was pretty much a middle of the road pay-per-view, honestly, if I'm being any kind of generous whatsoever. And the fact of the matter is this: why have a pay-per-view called AEW World's End, excuse me? Why have that as one of your pay-per-views, right? And have different kinds of people being booked in certain matches, and then all of a sudden, because of some nonsense, basically, they're all of a sudden, like, not being on the show. Like, for instance, literally, when Swerve Strickland lost the Continental Classic, I've already talked about it on the roundup. When Swerve Strickland lost the Continental Classic, the first thing Tony Khan did, he put him in a match against Keith Lee. That's exactly the first thing Tony Khan did. Swerve Strickland is the best thing about AEW right now. And I mean right now. Not even close. It's not even Hangman Adam Page. It's not MJF himself. It's not even Adam Cole. We'll get to him in a little bit. But at the end of the day, Swerve Strickland holding down the fort here in AEW. And this man needs to get flowers from now on. There should be no disrespect to Swerve Strickland under no way, shape, or form. And any way, shape, or form. This man is way too talented and way too good to be disrespected by people. Seriously, this guy is way too good. Speaking of Swerve Strickland, we'll now head on to the AEW World's End pay-per-view, which was held on Saturday, December the 30th of 2023 from the Nassau Memorial Coliseum in Long Island, New York. The pre-show matches were as follows. Willow Nightingale versus Chris Statlander. Both women were from Long Island. They wrestled for 12 minutes on the 0-hour pre-show. Willow Nightingale beat Chris Statlander clean as a whistle, 1, 2, 3. That's all you need to know. Killswitch, formerly known as Luchasaurus, he won a Battle Royal to earn a TNT Championship match in the near future. Killswitch won by eliminating Trent Beretta. So there you go. Killswitch won a Battle Royal. We'll get to that in a little bit. Hook defended the FTW Championship against Wheeler Yuta. Wheeler Yuta, by the way, the Ring of Honor Pure Champion. Hook beat him to retain the FTW Championship in a FTW Rules match, anything goes match. And that was it for the 0-hour pre-show. And now we're going to head on into the main show for AEW's World's End 2023. Excalibur, Nigel McGuinness, and Taz on commentary. By the way, can I say this really fast? This is going to be the first of probably, let's say, 9 or 10 get off my televisions. I'm going to say one of them. Excalibur, get off television. Oh my goodness, this man was rambling on all night. Rambling on. Just barreling on through with this show. And I thought me reviewing shows, like, can you imagine Excalibur reviewing wrestling shows? Like, the dude would flow by so quickly, you wouldn't even have a clue what happened. That's how fast he talked on this show. Excalibur, get off television. Jeez Louise. Our first match on the show was an 8-man tag team match, which was randomly put together for absolutely zero reason at all. Tony Khan booking, AEW logic, ladies and gentlemen. Complete nonsense. First of all 8 of these men were in the Continental Classic, but this did not need to be on the show. On one side, it is Claudio Castagnoli, Bryan Danielson with one eye, Mark Briscoe, who did not even get a win in the Continental Classic until the last week of the goddamn tournament, Daniel Garcia, who last time... I don't know. Anyway, those 4 men versus Brody King representing the House of Black, Jay White representing Bullet Club Gold, who are back on TV and are already being booked like fucking geeks, Jay Lethal, and the El Toro Blanco, Roosh. This was an 8-man tag. I'm going to go over this entire match because this was actually a fine match for what it was. It was a typical 8-man tag, pretty much, for AEW, to be honest with you, because at the end of the day, this did not need to be on the show. None of this needed to be on the show at all. Good match, but this did not need to be on the show. I don't know. I'll go over the match, though, very briefly. Claudio and Roosh exchanged strikes. Mark Briscoe and Jay Lethal got into the ring. They're still fighting. They go into a chop fest. Jay White tags in against Bryan Danielson. Bryan Danielson tries to go after Jay White, but Jay White got his foot on the ropes. And basically, Bryan and Jay White, they go into it. So Daniel Garcia gets tagged in. Brody King gets tagged in. He hits a beautiful sidewalk slam to Daniel Garcia. Brody King then guarded Matt Menard's face, by the way. Matt Menard, get off television. That's the second time I have said it. Matt Menard, on commentary for this match, he was fucking awful on commentary. This man should be nowhere near commentary for the rest of the year. Somebody is about to get their ass whooped. Why is Matt Menard on my TV? This man is better off in TNA. Daniel Garcia was isolated by his teammates as the heel team made quick tags. They beat up Daniel Garcia for a while. Daniel Garcia was bleeding from the nose at one point, which was awesome. Jay White body slammed Daniel Garcia twice, and then he hit him with a forearm to the back. Garcia breaks out of it. He breaks out of a chin lock, and Garcia fights out of the chin lock. He tags in Mark Briscoe. He beats up everybody. Mark Briscoe hits a jumping kick on Jay Lethal. Everybody fighting on the outside. By the way, none of this was a fucking count out. Your referee for this match was Rick Knox. Rick Knox refereed 2 of the opening 3 matches on this goddamn show. Get this man the hell out of here. I'm sick of this man. If I see Rick Knox on my TV one more time, I'm turning off AEW. I cannot stand Rick Knox. Holy hell. Get him out of here. It's bad enough that I hate all of the AEW referees except 3 referees in AEW. But the fact that you guys had to insult my intelligence with Rick Knox refereeing 2 of the 3 opening matches on this goddamn show, that's enough. That is enough. Enough is enough, and it's time for a change. Get Rick Knox the hell out of here. Moving on. Claudio did the giant swing on Roosh. Yes, Roosh. Bryan Danielson hit a drop kick. Lethal gets into the ring. He hits the lethal combination on Daniel Garcia. Then he applies a figure 4 leg lock on Daniel Garcia. But Mark Briscoe breaks it up with a froggy bow elbow drop. They did the sequence where all guys hit their moves on each other, basically. Jay White hit something. I forgot what he hit. But that's not really important. All you need to know is that Daniel Garcia and Jay Lethal fought into the ring. Garcia trips up Jay Lethal, and Jay Lethal gets pinned for the 2,488th time in AEW. Daniel Garcia beats Jay Lethal 1-2-3 with the jackknife cover 1-2-3. I'm going to give this match, I'm going to be very generous with this match. I'm going to give this match a 7, and logic, I'll give it a 4. I thought this was a very standard 8-man tag, which did not really need to be on the show, but we got it anyway, and it was fine. I didn't have any problem with the match, except Jay Lethal taking another pin on this show. But other than that, good match. I thought this match was fine. But other than that, this did not need to be on the show. Absolutely not. AEW needs to stop doing random matches on pay-per-views and expect people to like the matches right away. Like this 8-man tag and another tag team match on this show, which I actually did not like at all. There's another match on this show that I also did not like. So, yeah. Why are we randomly doing matches just for the sake of matches? I don't know what the hell's going on with Tony Khan, but whatever is going on, he needs to stop doing these AEW booking nonsense and just make sure that AEW Worlds End, like Worlds End got 9 matches. Ladies and gentlemen, let me repeat that again. 9 matches for a 4-hour show. And look, that's not bad in hindsight, but again, you do not need a 4-hour show for a show like World's End. This show really could have been 3.5 hours. Realistically, 7 matches, 3.5 hours. Hey, take my money. At the end of the day, just did not need to be on the show. Your next match was Miro versus Andrade El Ídolo with CJ Perry in his corner. Andrade was getting rumored a lot that he was going to have his last match in AEW. There was a lot of speculation about Andrade in AEW, leaving AEW basically, and it would be a shame if Andrade actually left AEW, but at the end of the day, his wife is in WWE, but she's out with an ACL injury for an entire year. So basically, Andrade is in between a rock and a horrible place to be in wrestling. Not saying it's bad, but like it's kind of like things are very complicated for Andrade. Let's just put it like that. So CJ Perry comes out with Andrade El Ídolo. CJ Perry, by the way, was being hospitalized with an infection in her finger, but she can still walk, obviously, so she was out there, obviously. So anyway, Miro attacked Andrade. When Andrade got into the ring, Miro beat the shit out of Miro for like 3 or 4 minutes. Miro hit a suplex at one point, but Andrade no-sold it, and then he hit a jawbreaker at one point. Miro caught Andrade hitting a Uranagi, I believe. I wrote a Uranagi, but my other note says a spinning slam of some kind. Either way, it looked pretty cool. They left the ring. Miro beat up Andrade on the outside. He slams his head on the commentary table. Andrade sent Miro into the steel steps after a counter. Paul Turner was counting him out the ring, but Andrade then broke up the count. Miro gave Andrade a superplex from the middle rope, which was awesome, back into the ring. They went back and forth with strikes, basically. Andrade came back with a crossbody and a running elbow. Miro was sent outside the ring. Andrade hit a moonsault onto Miro on the outside, and then Andrade sent Miro into the steel steps again. Andrade did the double jump moonsault spot back inside the ring for a 2 count. Andrade charged at Miro, but Miro got back up and hit a super kick. Miro shouted game over. He applied the game over submission, but Andrade got his hand on the bottom rope. Paul Turner broke up the submission hold. Hold on a second. My notes get a little foggy from here, ladies and gentlemen. So hang with me for about a couple of seconds. Okay, we're back. All right, we're back now. What the? Andrade sent Miro to the apron, followed by a leg whip. Andrade hit the back elbow, the surprise back elbow to Miro. Andrade then applied the figure 4 leg lock, but he tried to do the figure 8 submission that his wife uses, by the way. But CJ Perry swipes Andrade's hand during the bridge attempt, which means CJ Perry turning on Andrade. What the hell was this about? And nobody cared for this moment at all, because nobody was cheering. Let me repeat that one more time. Nobody cheered when that happened. No one. Not a soul in Long Island, New York cheered for that. Not one. I didn't hear. I could have heard water dropping out of a goddamn faucet. That's how quiet that moment was. Miro then gets back up after a couple of minutes. Miro hits Andrade with a super kick. Then he applies the game over submission. Andrade taps out. It's over. Miro beats Andrade. Clean as a whistle thanks to pretty much CJ Perry turning on him. Basically, Miro gets the win. And Miro deserved this win more than Andrade did, because Andrade, a lot of people were saying Andrade's leaving, he's a free agent, yada yada yada. You know, you guys get the point. Anyway, Miro versus Andrade, I'll give this match a 6.5. And logic, probably a 6. Yeah, a good number. Yeah, okay. Miro Andrade wrestling 6.5. Logic, I'll give it a 6. I thought this match was pretty good. This could have been a little bit better, especially with CJ Perry not getting involved a couple of times. But other than that, good win for Miro. I'm glad Miro is finally back on TV. And Miro is finally going to be booked, hopefully a whole lot better in 2024, because holy hell, this man was not even on TV, and then all of a sudden, now I'm getting the impression that because they don't have nothing for Miro to do, apparently, for Tony Khan's reasoning for this, not mine. Apparently, Tony Khan thinks there's nothing for Miro to do because he can't go after Samoa Joe all of a sudden. When Samoa Joe, by the way, I can't reveal it yet, but at the end of the day, why isn't Miro the first person to challenge Samoa Joe? So, yeah, that's what I wanted to know. But other than that, good match, and Miro gets the win. There you go. For the AEW Worlds Women's Championship, Timeless Toni Storm with her butler Lutha versus Riho. Rick Knox was your referee. Oh my goodness. I'm not gonna lie, this match was relatively slow at times. It was fine. Basically, Toni Storm hit some body slams, and then she did a single leg crab, which was cool. She did a Texas Cloverleaf at one point. Lutha then, by the way, he put Toni Storm on her shoulders and he threw Riho off the apron to the floor. Rick Knox, your referee, did nothing about it. It took Rick Knox 3 minutes to eject Lutha from ringside. 3 minutes! You guys understand now why I hate Rick Knox now. If you don't understand why now, you do know now. It took this man 3 minutes to eject Lutha from the goddamn ring. This makes no sense. None. Riho hit a tiger feint kick off the ropes, and then she hit a drop kick, and then she hit a body slam, which did not look good. It was awful. Toni Storm was selling because she had to for fucking Riho. Jesus Christ. Riho hit a top rope cross body onto Storm on the outside, and then back into the ring. Riho hit a dragon suplex for a 2 count. Riho charged at Toni Storm into the corner. Riho misses Toni Storm. Toni Storm moves out of the way. Toni Storm goes for her hip attack, get your mind out of the gutter, but Riho moves out of the way. Toni Storm misses, but she comes out of the corner with a kick, and then she hits the Storm Zero Power Driver for a 2 count, which also did not look pretty good. And I like Toni Storm, but that power driver she's doing does not really look good anymore. It doesn't even look safe anymore, to be fair. So, I don't know. Anyway, Toni Storm can't believe it. Riho kicked out of her move. Riho tries for an inside cradle for a 2 count, but then Toni Storm comes back. She slams Riho down with I believe she slammed her down with a clothesline. Basically, that's what happened. Toni Storm then grabs Riho over her back, and then she hit a DDT for a pin. 1, 2, 3, and Toni Storm retains against Riho. No surprise here. And then Mariah May comes out to celebrate with Toni Storm with the whole roses thing. So Toni Storm is fully coming into her own in AEW, and I am glad that Toni Storm is actually getting booked well in this gimmick. The problem is this AEW women's division is in complete shambles. And I mean this in the nicest way possible. Tony Khan, you need to stop booking the AEW women's division. You've been doing this for the last 2 years now, and it's been awful, awful, awful. How many women were on this show? 4? Come on, bro. Put more women on the show. What in the blue hell are you doing? That's all I ask. It's not that hard. It is not hard to understand. Unbelievable. Toni Storm versus Riho. I'll give this match a 5. Logic, probably a 2. That's the best I can give for this entire match. Nothing happened. It was slow at times. Nothing really mattered in the match anyway. So what was the point of this match if Riho was going to lose? I don't get it. I really don't get it. I don't get it. Anyway, here's another gripe I have with this entire show. Dante Martin interviewed backstage. Dante Martin talked about getting a pin on Rampage. By the way, on Rampage, he had a 6-man tag. It was between Rocky Romero, Orange Cassidy, and Danhausen, who is still employed on my fucking television, versus Top Flight, Action Andretti, Darius Martin, and Dante Martin. So Dante talks about how he almost pinned Orange Cassidy. First of all, number one, you never pinned Orange Cassidy. Number one, you pinned fucking Rocky Romero. That is not an accomplishment. Dante Martin, letting you know right now. So Dante Martin says he wants championship gold. First person that walks up, Orange Cassidy, who was still employed. Orange Cassidy walks up with his international championship. Dante Martin looks at the championship, and I quote, and then Orange Cassidy says, "You want a title shot on Dynamite? Okay, Wednesday, I'll see you there, whatever, yada yada yada." Dante Martin stared at this man's championship and got a goddamn title match. Dante Martin has wrestled 4 singles matches in AEW in the history of All Elite Wrestling, and this man is staring at this goddamn goon's title and gets a title shot. Dante Martin just came back and he gets a title shot. Just like Private Party just came back on Dynamite. I'm already going to spoil what happens on Dynamite. First of all, Private Party came back, which is great. I am a big fan of Private Party. You guys know this. Mark Quinn and Isaiah Cassidy are finally back as Private Party. Thank God. But the first thing Tony Khan does, he puts them in a tag team championship match on Collision against Ricky Starks and Big Bill. Why? Fucking why? These men just came back. Mark Quinn has been out for almost a year and a half. And all of a sudden, this man walks back into the company all casually, showing off. And then all of a sudden, he gets a title shot. There's no story. There's no build. There is no heat for Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks, by the way, got pinned on this show. Pinned. The one half of the World Tag Team Champions. Pinned clean as a whistle. On this show. Matter of fact, I'm not even going to talk about the next match, which was Swerve Strickland versus Dustin Rhodes. I'm not talking about this match. Swerve Strickland beat the shit out of Dustin Rhodes. Dustin Rhodes had a cinder block broken over his fucking ankle. No one gave a fuck. Swerve Strickland beat Dustin Rhodes in 7 minutes. No rating. I did not like this match. I didn't care about this match under no way, shape, or form at all. And then this next match happened, which also pissed me the fuck off as well. Darby Allin. Let me read out here what I'm about to say. Ricky Starks and Big Bill, the AEW World Tag Team Champions, versus the Don Callis family, Konosuke Takeshita and Powerhouse Hobbs with their horrendous theme music. That's what they came out to, ladies and gentlemen. It sounds like a fucking microwave and shit. What the fuck is going on? Change these men theme music. Powerhouse Hobbs does not deserve Mosquito theme music. Seriously, what is going on here? The Don Callis family, all of a sudden, that's like their main theme music? Like they can't have Powerhouse Hobbs come out to his normal theme music? What? Swerve Strickland versus Dustin Rhodes, no rating. This next match, also no rating. Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, Sting, and Darby Allin for absolutely no reason in any way, shape, or form. All 4 of these men were paired together and then all of a sudden put on the show. A lot of, allegations about Chris Jericho. A lot of people are hating Chris Jericho for what he did apparently in 2019 when Kylie Ray, for those of you who don't know, Kylie Ray was in AEW. For about 3 months in the women's division, right? So Kylie Ray around the 2020, she asked to be released from her contract, and she actually did get released from her contract. A lot of people think, oh, Kylie Ray got fired. No, she didn't get fired. She asked to be released. Nick Houseman. It took Nick Houseman to break down how Chris Jericho all of a sudden was making inappropriate advances to Kylie Ray. It took Nick Houseman to say that. This should have came out 5 years ago if that was going to be the case. Or 4 years ago when the cancel culture thing was in full swing. All of a sudden it takes Nick fucking Houseman to reveal that Chris Jericho was doing something that he wasn't supposed to be doing. I've already talked about this briefly with Cabo anyway, so I don't really need to go over what exactly happened because nobody really knows what happened anyway when Jericho and the Kylie Ray thing happened. No one really knows how it happened. No one knows why it happened. And some people say when that came out, Kylie Ray sent a heart emoji. But the thing is, like, she never said anything about it. She never went public about it. It's not like she confirmed it or anything like that. So we don't know what's going on. So what is the point of putting this match together? First of all, this match does not make sense at all. This shouldn't even be on the show. This was a random match that just happened to be on the show. And all of a sudden, despite the controversy, Chris Jericho is still on this show. When I have seen people who have been fired for much less. Like, seriously, like, if these allegations were going to come out before AEW's World's End, I wouldn't even have this match on the show. Like I said, this show should have been 7 matches. At least 7. This did not need 9, 10 matches on this show. Absolutely not. And the thing is, like, people, like, it was like people wanted Chris Jericho on the show, like, for you to buy the pay-per-view. Chris Jericho's on the show, you gotta buy the pay-per-view. Why the fuck would I buy the pay-per-view if these allegations were going to come out anyway, when these really should have came out 4 fucking years ago? AEW logic, ladies and gentlemen. AEW logic. And by the way, another guy who has been, like, not been reprimanded, Sammy Guevara. Apparently, back in the day, Mercedes Moné, who used to be known as Sasha Banks, apparently, Sammy Guevara was saying some wild stuff about Sasha Banks and how he liked her and stuff like that. It was very creepy. It was an actual thing where this actually happened. It was actually leaked. And this came out in, like, 2018, 2019 and stuff like that, when Mercedes Moné was in WWE, right? So apparently AEW found out about this, and AEW decided to suspend Sammy Guevara. Really, Sammy Guevara should have been fired, number one, right away. Because number one, like, it's not like he needs to be on TV. Like, we can do much better with not Sammy Guevara on my television. We're fine with Sammy Guevara not being on TV. Sammy Guevara he's reached his peak in AEW. You know, he's a TNT champion, stuff like that. He beat Cody, and that's all good and fine. But he has reached his peak. Like, no one cares about Sammy Guevara anymore. Nobody really genuinely likes Sammy Guevara except, you know, for his marriage, which we won't talk about. But at the end of the day, why is he here if Sammy Guevara has not been reprimanded a lot? He wasn't even really punished. He was back on TV in 3 months. He was suspended for all that time, and then he comes back after saying some shit like that about Mercedes Moné? What? No. Okay, first of all, why am I talking about this entire thing? I'm sorry. Let's get back to the rest of the show. Ricky Starks and Big Bill and the Don Callis family, which is Takeshita and Powerhouse Hobbs versus Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, Sting, and Darby Allin. No rating for this entire match. I'm not going over the rest of this match. This sucked. I didn't care about this match at all. And as I said earlier on, Ricky Starks got pinned. The one half of the World Tag Team Champions got pinned by Sammy Guevara. Who the flying hell cared about this match? Not me. Next match. Julia Hart versus Abadon for the TBS Championship. I'm going to go over this match. This was a little bit... this was kind of quiet. I ain't gonna lie. The crowd was very, very quiet for this show, for AEW Worlds End. Very quiet show this was. Except for the main event. Other than that, oh man. Julia Hart versus Abadon. Oh man. I want to be positive about this match. I really, 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 really want to be positive about this match. But somehow, and some way, all of a sudden, there was just so much other stuff happening in this match that made me really, really not care about this match. I want to be positive. I like Julia Hart. You guys know this. Abadon, she's alright for me. But there was just so much nonsense on this match in specifically that just did not need to happen. First of all, here's exactly what happened. Julia Hart was choking Abadon across the middle ropes, and Julia Hart said, "No rope breaks" into the camera, and then Excalibur said it for the first time. Apparently, in AEW, there is no rope breaks. Are you fucking kidding me? There are no rope breaks in AEW? You know, normally I would go on an entire rant about this, but at the end of the day, this just... oh, man. Anyway, Julia Hart hit a running clothesline to Abadon. Abadon hit a spinning slam, and then she hit a driving knee strike for a 2 count. Abadon was biting Julia Hart's head. Your referee for this match was Paul Turner. He was checking on Julia Hart, so Sky Blue appeared, and then she shoved Abadon off the top rope. Not a DQ. Abadon then got back up. She hit a running knee to Sky Blue. Julia Hart clotheslined Abadon in the back, and then Julia Hart hit a moonsault, which did not look good at all. Julia Hart's arms did not even touch Abadon, and then she still won the match. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, man oh man, Julia Hart versus Abadon for the TBS Championship. My rating for this match. Wrestling, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm going to have to give this a 3. That's the best I can give for this match. I'm sorry. I like both women, but the finish of this match sucked. And I mean horrendous. I'm not going to blame Julia Hart because she's still relatively young. But at the end of the day, why did Sky Blue need to be out there? Why was the referee more focused about Sky Blue all of a sudden running out to the ring? He was more focused on Sky Blue than Julia Hart's damn moonsault. Wrestling, 3. Logic, 0. This did not need to be on the show. Realistically, I don't know why Abadon is getting a bigger push now. Like, what can you do with Abadon that you haven't already done in like 3 years? I genuinely, sincerely want to know. There's no way in any kind of mind that Abadon should even be on my television. I'm not saying she's a bad wrestler. I'm saying her gimmick does not resonate with like the younger fan base or with the audience or whatever. At the end of the day, like, why is Abadon on television and why is she getting a bigger push all of a sudden? You know Abadon is that irrelevant when Thunder Rosa can't even put Abadon over. You know this push makes no sense. Yeah, Wrestling 3, Logic 0. This did not need to be on the show. I'll just be honest. I like Julia Hart, but she could have fought Chris Statlander again. I would have been fine with that. Or Willow Nightingale. Willow Nightingale saved Abadon on Collision. Apparently, Willow Nightingale does not deserve a title shot. I beg your pardon? After the year she's had this year, Willow Nightingale does not deserve a title shot? Nonsense. That's what I wrote in my notes. Complete nonsense.
This episode of Rope Break is interrupted to advertise Life's Open Radio certified bangers, a roller coaster of music consisting of drum and bass, indie pop, pop and R&B, soundtracks, and anything else that comes to Chabo's mind, as well as world news and special guests. You can listen to Life's Opening Radio Certified Bangers every Sunday afternoon on Spotify. Back to your regular scheduled programming.
Your next match for the TNT Championship. This match, oh my goodness. Finally and mercifully, we get the best match on this entire show. Thank good Lord Almighty above. We got the best match on this entire show. Adam Copeland, the AEW Adam Copeland, the challenger, fighting Christian Cage for the TNT Championship with Nick Wayne and his mom in his corner, basically. So, basically, this is a no disqualification match. Anything goes. Anything can happen, basically. So, Adam Copeland beats up Christian for a while. The fans were chanting for tables. Adam throwing Christian into the steel steps at one point, which was cool. Christian climbed the steel steps, so Adam Copeland went after him. Nick Wayne got involved, so it's legal though, but I won't complain. Adam Copeland threw Nick Wayne into a wall at one point. Copeland climbed up to the 104 section, and he jumped onto both Christian and Nick Wayne. It was awesome. That was great. Back at ringside, Copeland walked across a barricade, leading to a clothesline on Christian. Back into the ring, Adam Copeland charged at Christian, but Christian moved out of the way and sent Adam Copeland into the ring post, and Copeland is on the outside. Copeland gets beaten up by Christian for a bit. He gets hit with a kendo stick a lot. Adam Copeland was bleeding, and then Christian Cage actually called Adam Copeland, and I quote, ladies and gentlemen, a piece of shit. And that's exactly what he said. I'm not making this up. So, Christian posing over Adam Copeland with a chair that was on Copeland's back. Christian applies a Boston Crab while sitting on the chair, but Copeland will not give in. Christian then attacks with a metal rod, but Copeland moves out of the way, and then he hits a neck breaker, which was awesome. Copeland hits Christian with a kendo stick, so he gets his comeback. He hits a kendo stick to hit Christian Cage in the throat with it, which was cool. And then he applied a crossface with the steel, I'm going to call it a steel pipe, in Christian's face, but Christian got to the ropes and Copeland let go. You guys have seen Adam Copeland do that a couple of times. Copeland pulled out a ladder, and then Copeland did a catapult that sent Christian face first into the ladder. Christian Cage then hit Copeland with a kendo stick to the ribs, and then he hit a reverse DDT. He tries to climb up the ladder, but Copeland goes after him. And then Nick Wayne was actually holding the ladder, and Christian and Adam Copeland are fighting on top of the ladder. Christian then does a sunset flip powerbomb onto the floor, which was awesome. That was fantastic. That was a great move. That was the best spot on this entire match, really, to be honest with you. So, anyway, Adam Copeland hits Christian in the back with a kendo stick after they sell. Copeland hits an impaler DDT on the chair, but there was no cover. Copeland teased a concerto, but Nick Wayne got into the ring again. Christian was back up with a low blow chair shot to the groin, which did not finish the match. It was not the finish. Christian Cage hit this man with the edge of a steel chair to the groin, and not the finish. Christian set up a table against the turnbuckle. Christian charged at the table, but Adam did a leapfrog, and then Copeland threw a chair at Christian's face twice. Copeland hits a spear on Christian through the table, but Shayna Wayne pulled the referee out of the ring, which I already wrote. Shayna Wayne, get off my fucking television. That's the fourth time I've said that today. Seriously, why did she need to get involved? Why did she need to get involved? This was ridiculous. And then there was just so much happening. Adam Copeland hit a Christian with another spear. Then he hit Nick Wayne with a forearm. Nick Wayne had to sell on the apron for about a minute, and I've seen this on social media. First of all, Adam Copeland put the table on fire. Adam Copeland was trying to powerbomb Nick Wayne through the table. The table does not break. Nick Wayne is on fire for about 2 seconds, and the table actually flips over, so the table did not break, the spot didn't look good, and it just fucked up the rest of the match. Anyway, Christian Cage tried to attack Copeland with the TNT title, but Adam Copeland kicks him dead in the groin. I'm not making this up. Adam Copeland then hits the kill switch on Christian Cage for the win at one point. Apparently it was a false finish. Anyway, Adam Copeland for about 5 minutes is the new TNT champion at 25 minutes. But then Kill Switch, aka Luchasaurus, Kill Switch comes out. He attacks Adam Copeland. He is thinking of cashing in the TNT title shot contract that he has in his hand. So on the 0 hour pre-show that I mentioned at the top of the show, Kill Switch won a battle royal to get a future TNT championship match. So that's why I'm talking about it here. So Kill Switch was supposed to cash in, but he instead gives it to Christian Cage. Christian Cage then does another spear on Adam Copeland. Christian Cage wins back the TNT championship thanks to Kill Switch. And I thought that was actually a very nice way to keep Christian Cage with the TNT title, because remember everybody, Adam Copeland just got into AEW. So Christian Cage is doing pretty well for himself as a heel champion. You know, he's doing the whole father thing, pause, like that. Christian Cage right now is probably one of the top 3 things about AEW right now. So if I was a booker, I would have kept the belt on Christian Cage, to be fair. Anyway, I'm going to give wrestling for this match. I'll give it a 7, and I'll give logic a 6 for this match. I thought this match was pretty good. Probably the best thing about this entire show. I'll be completely honest with you. This was the best match wrestling-wise on the show, except for the table not breaking in that particular spot that I just mentioned earlier on. But other than that, Christian Cage still your TNT champion. Great match, as always, between Adam Copeland and Christian Cage. No surprises here. There you go, everybody. That was that. What was the next match? This next match, which was also pretty solid match for what it was. But anyway, this is the finals of the AEW Continental Classic between Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley. As I mentioned earlier on, Eddie Kingston won the match against Jon Moxley, but I will go over the match either way because this was a very important match for both men. So Moxley and Eddie Kingston, after a while, they trade chops with each other. Eddie Kingston hit an enziguri at one point, which was cool. So Eddie Kingston comes back with chops. Moxley blocked a chop with his forearm, and then Moxley actually hit a power driver for a 2 count, which was cool. Moxley then does an STF, but Eddie Kingston bites Moxley's hands to get out of the move. Some more chops. Moxley staggered Eddie Kingston, so Moxley flipped him off, and then Eddie gives it. He flips him off too, basically. They did double clotheslines twice, and then Eddie Kingston hit an overhead suplex, which was cool. And then Moxley randomly started selling his knee. I don't know what the hell happened, but apparently Moxley landed awkwardly on his knee in the match. I don't know. Eddie Kingston then hit the spinning back fist, but Eddie Kingston then falls down. They start selling. Eddie Kingston does the machine gun chops, and then he hits a DDT. Moxley comes back with a cutter, and then he bounces off the rope with the King Kong Lariat. But then Eddie Kingston comes back with a Northern Lights bomb for a 2 count, which was awesome. Bryan Danielson, by the way, was on commentary. And Bryan Danielson was the best thing about commentary all night long. More Bryan Danielson on commentary, please. Jesus Christ. Eddie Kingston grabs a headlock, and then Moxley gets out of it. Moxley was going for the Bulldog choke, but Eddie Kingston then hits a back fist for a 2 count. Eddie Kingston then gets Moxley back up. He hits a Northern Lights bomb again for a 2 count. Eddie then delivers some knees to the face, but Moxley comes back with another lariat. Both men lay down selling, and then they exchange headbutts from both men. Then they exchange hard slaps to the face. Boy, they were slapping the hell out of each other just in this sequence alone. They slapped the shit out of each other. Moxley then slapped Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston comes right back with another back fist. It took 3 back fists to pin Jon Moxley, and Eddie Kingston beats Jon Moxley, and he is the first ever AEW Triple Crown Champion. That's right. He is now the Ring of Honor World Champion, the New Japan Strong Openweight Champion, and the new Continental Championship, which by the way, looks hideous. I saw the title when Eddie Kingston got it. It looked horrendous. I waited a month and a half to see Eddie Kingston get that kind of championship, ladies and gentlemen. I waited for that. Seriously, I waited for Eddie Kingston to win this tournament and then all of a sudden get a title that looked like some stuff that I could have created out of WWE 2K22. Are you serious? Are you? I'm not. I can't believe I'm saying that, ladies and gentlemen. But my goodness. Eddie Kingston versus Jon Moxley. I'll give it an 8. Logic, I'll give it a 5. Good match. Very good match on this show. The 2 best matches on this show was Adam Copeland and Christian Cage, and then Eddie Kingston versus Jon Moxley. 2 of the best matches on this entire show. Other than that, this show was pretty much a very missable and disappointing show, to say the least. Alright, we are now mercifully at the end of this show. Maxwell Jacob Friedman versus Samoa Joe for the AEW World Championship. Adam Cole came out to support MJF, and Samoa Joe complained about it, and Adam Cole was on crutches, so I kind of already knew where this is going, especially because Adam Cole was kind of getting a little bit too, basically all over the place, doing too much and stuff like that. And I originally said in my Full Gear review that Adam Copeland, I don't know why, not Adam Copeland, I meant Adam Cole. I don't know why Adam Cole was not cleared, but apparently that foot injury that he has is a real legit injury. So yeah, I can't really complain about that, but I just thought I'd point that out because Adam Cole was on crutches on this show. So MJF versus Samoa Joe. I don't know if I should really go over this match because you all know what happened. I already spoiled what happened at pretty much the top of the show. Okay, you know what? Fine. I'm going to briefly go over this match. I did not write a lot of stuff for this match because there was just a lot of things that just happened in this match and just didn't make sense. First of all, MJF went for the Heat Seeker 3 times, and then he actually hit the Heat Seeker. But Samoa Joe kicks out. Joe gave MJF a muscle buster on the apron. The match, first of all, by the way, the match was actually a solid match between Samoa Joe and MJF. This was a solid match, just that people just did not care about this match at all. Your referee for this match was Bryce Remsburg. You guys know how I feel about Bryce Remsburg. I'm not going to talk about this man no more. Actually, never mind. Bryce Remsburg, get off my television. 5 times I've said that today. Anyway, after a couple of minutes, Samoa Joe he did an armbar at one point, but MJF crawled to the bottom rope. Joe went for another submission, but MJF got out of it, and then he shoved Samoa Joe into Bryce Remsburg, and the referee's down, so there's a ref bump. MJF had Samoa Joe on his back, and then MJF hit an F5. That's what I wrote in my notes. I didn't know what the hell that was. It looked like an F5 to me. With MJF, I mean, that's I don't know about that one. That's just weird. And MJF doing F5s, not my cup of tea. So both wrestlers are down, selling. Referee is down. Cole encouraging MJF. So MJF had MJF had one arm on Samoa Joe's chest. Bryce Remsburg counted a near fall. MJF then gets the Dynamite Diamond Ring from Adam Cole. Samoa Joe goes for something, but then MJF counters it into a pin for a 2 count. And then Samoa Joe then applies the Coquina Clutch. The referee then checks on MJF's arm, and MJF is out. MJF is out cold, and Samoa Joe wins the AEW World Championship. So, no surprise, MJF is injured, by the way. Apparently, MJF has been wrestling hurt for a while now, so this is their way to put MJF off TV. So we won't be seeing MJF for a little bit. So yeah, let him rest up, and MJF can finally be the kind of guy that we expect him to be on AEW. But Samoa Joe is your new AEW World Champion, rightfully so. I don't think this man should have lost twice to MJF in any way, shape, or form with complete nonsense either way. But at the end of the day, Samoa Joe is finally world champion, so congratulations to Samoa Joe. After the match is where things finally got interesting. Adam Cole walks into the ring, and then the Devil's Masked Men came out from the crowd, and one of them was relatively taller than the other men. So anyway, the lights go out, and then they come back on, and we see the Devil Mask being worn by Adam Cole. Adam Cole reveals the Devil Mask while Adam Cole is sitting down in a chair. So he reveals himself to be the Devil. I am not surprised at this. Some people were saying that they waited 5 hours for another man to reveal himself on live national television. His mask, excuse me. Anyway, so Adam Cole reveals himself, and then all of the other members reveal themselves. They are Roderick Strong, The Kingdom, Matt Taven, still employed. Actually, Roderick Strong, still employed. And Mike Bennett, still employed. And Wardlow. I did not expect Wardlow to be a part of this group. He did cut a couple of promos saying, "Oh, I'm not the devil, but also I won't be a goon." That's exactly what he said, quote, and verbatim. And then all of a sudden, Wardlow is with Adam Cole now. So you mean to tell me, Tony Khan, that Wardlow cannot fight for the International Championship? You mean to tell me this man cannot fight for anything else? So they don't even have a faction name. Like, Adam Cole just got given a faction, and then people are expected to care about this faction. First of all, no one cared about Roderick Strong on television. So what was the whole point of this entire thing if we were going to get this? So they're now going to call themselves the Undisputed Kingdom now. Yeah, because we got to put Undisputed in front of everything. Undisputed Elite, Undisputed Kingdom. Y'all could have just called them the Kingdom, right? You do realize Tony Khan owns trademarks, quote, trademarks for the Kingdom and for anything Ring of Honor related. I'm just saying. He could have just called them the Kingdom again. I would have been fine with the Kingdom reuniting Adam Cole and Roderick Strong and now Wardlow in the group and now Mike Bennett and Matt Taven and stuff like that. I would have been fine with them just being called the Kingdom. They don't need to be called the Undisputed Kingdom. You guys know this, right? They don't got to be called that. I can call them the Kingdom all night. At the end of the day, would anyone care? No. But, I mean, yeah. Some people were saying that they were waiting almost, 4.5 hours for Adam Cole to reveal himself, his mask, to unmask himself on this show. Yeah. I see where you guys are going with this, but this was going to be Adam Cole either way. Like, Adam Cole was, being friendly with MJF, and then he turns on him. I already seen this from a mile away, especially with the MJF and Adam Cole storyline, which I have gone over a couple of times here on this show. But at the end of the day, this was a very disappointing pay-per-view, which I honestly will not watch ever again. I'll just be honest. I feel like this show could have been a whole lot better, but at the end of the show, I just felt disappointed. I felt as if AEW wasn't really trying. Plus, they had a whole entire month to build up a pay-per-view when really no one necessarily cared about the pay-per-view. The whole crowd at World's End was almost dead silent. You could have heard a pin drop at that Nassau Coliseum at World's End. Y'all could have heard a pin drop in that arena. It was that quiet until the main event and when Adam Cole revealed himself. That was it. That was the only time the crowd ever even got excited or ever even paid attention to the match. Honestly. And then the Adam Copeland Christian Cage match. Everyone paid attention to that match as well. But other than that, man, this match was that match was good, but man, this show was rough to get through. Just rough to get through. I'm not watching this again. I refuse to watch this again. And I'm not saying the show was really bad, but I'm not watching this again. If I was going to get 9 matches in a 4-hour show with 2 of them not really needing to be on the show, like, what's the point of me watching it again? You know? I don't know. Anyway, my rating for AEW Worlds End 2023, I'll give this show, I'll be generous, I'll give this show, wrestling-wise, there was some good matches on this show, but other than that, it's not enough to save AEW Worlds End. So I'll give this 5.5. Logic, probably a 3, maybe a 2, if I'm being any kind of generous whatsoever. But yeah, that's the best rating I can give for this show. I just felt like AEW could have did a whole lot better with this show, and hopefully they get better with AEW Revolution in Greensboro in 2024. So hopefully all of you guys join me back here next week when me and Cabo review Wrestle Kingdom 19, night number 1, maybe night number 2 if necessary as well, but we will review Wrestle Kingdom night number 1 right here on Life's Open Radio Rope Break, and then after that, I will have Roundup number 15, Roundup number 15, maybe, and then the Royal Rumble review coming up in the end of the month, in the month of January. So hopefully all of you guys join us for that one, and I will see you guys for Wrestle Kingdom 19, night number 1. Until then, I'm Ben Charles, on behalf of Cabo. So long, everybody.